Let the Right One In. It was a 2008 Swedish film featuring a boy who was a vampire, is a vampire.
Well, the
This
girl was a vampire.
it was a okay, the boy develops a friendship with a girl who's a vampire in Stockholm, which is interesting.
Yes.
Stockholm of all places. This is a remake, 10 episodes, Showtime. When I saw the trailer for it, as I was saying, I was watching something else. I was like, this is interesting. This is weird. It's different. It's really different. So what about the script, other than the Swedish version was a wild success? And I love that, everything from Shameless to, like, we are taking, some things from other places and bringing them here. What about this film interested you?
I loved the movie,
The
the original film, the Swedish film. I really enjoyed it. I liked the book. I was much, much heavier than the film, and the film was heavy enough. The book was woof. And so when they said they were doing this, I also love vampires. So I'm a vampire girl. I will read the book, watch the movie. I love it. And I have since I was a kid. I was actually supposed to shoot a movie. Where was I supposed to go? Can't remember the name of the place. I was supposed to go way out in Europe, and I was so excited because I was close enough to go visit Dracula's castle, and that was my plan. But I didn't get to do it because COVID. But I love the genre, and I think that this is a different take on vampirism, as our vampirism comes from addiction and a drug. Although yes, people do get bitten, and there are a couple of different things happening in the show that lead to the same unfortunate path. But, the show, the bottom line is really exploring what you would do, how far you would go to protect the people you love. Who is the monster? What does it mean? How does that change from the angle that you're looking at it? Who do we really know, and how do we know them? There are a lot of things happening, and I found it very interesting. And I only got to read, I don't remember if my audition I read a whole script or I just read a couple of scenes, and I really liked the scenes, and I was like, okay, well, this is interesting, but I'm not trying to be on a procedural. So let me know if I'm just going to be running around with my gun looking at DNA every week. No, thank you. And I really had that conversation, and they were very straightforward with me and assured me that would not be the case, that I would have a life, that I would be a well-rounded individual. And I'm happy that I did it. And I love these kids. Ian Foreman III, who plays my child, who looks like a doppelganger of me, which is pretty wild.
Come on, casting.
It's an amazing casting job. And I will pat myself on the back, because I did do a read with kids at the end, and they asked me which ones I was most drawn to, and with work, not even to look at, and he was at the top of that situation. Now, did anybody cast because of what I felt? Probably not, but they asked, and he was up there. So, and Madison Taylor Baez, who is fantastic. People have seen her on America's Got Talent recently, belting away like the little old soul that she is. The two of them are just, I love being with them. I love spending time with them. And it was a good experience. It was a good experience.
Anika Noni Rose, just finding out today that she shares my love of vampire things, all things vampire. She is in the 10-part series on Showtime, which is a take on the Swedish film Let the Right One In. It will definitely be on my what to watch list, because I already was like, I'm watching it. I just started Interview with a Vampire, the take on the film. And I was thinking the other day, I remember where I was when Interview with the Vampire came out. I went to the movies to see it, and I remember I might have been in Chelsea when Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise kissed and the whole theater erupted, and I was like, what is happening? Because that was a moment. Anne Rice, but I went all the way through Queen of the Dam before Aaliyah. But that book, because it brought it back to Egypt, it brought it back to Africa, and it was the origin story that I needed as a young person understanding this world. And of course, Twilight, and of course, we can go all the way back to Bela Lugosi and all of that, But so, what was your first Dracula? Yes, what was your first entree?
I'm sorry.
What was your first entree into this world of vampires?
Probably The Count on Sesame Street.
Okay. All right.
Probably The Count. But I will tell you, I read Interview with the Vampire. I loved the series. And I read Queen of the Damned under my Christmas tree in the hours between presents and dinner. And I loved it so much. And I always wanted to play Akasha. I was actually crushed when I found out Aaliyah was playing that. But fortunately, this woman is ancient Akasha. So there is time yet for me to play Akasha. And I would love to do that. Like that would be such, I would just love it.
I'm not going to say it, but Anika Noni Rose might be a vampire because I'm looking at a flawless face, y'all. Flawless. Okay. I don't know if you having the little vampire facials or something, but
no, ma'am.
Girl, it is flawless. Thank you, jeans, I guess.
Thank you.
Do you have a regimen that keeps you? Because you're also fit. Like you're fit and beautiful.
I appreciate that very much. I, like the rest of the world, was very unfit at the end of the quarantine era. So
I'm still working through my COVID-19 pounds. I'm still working through them.
But I don't do a lot to my face. I don't wear makeup if I'm not working, like maybe some mascara and a lip. I always wear sunscreen. Always. I don't care. Winter, spring, summer, fall, there's sunscreen on my face. I just started getting facials, which I never really liked because I don't really like the hands of people I don't know in my face. But there's a woman named Tracy Hudson in Los Angeles. And I was like, listen, I've been working for 6 months straight. I've had makeup on my face the whole time. And I really just want to start taking care of my skin outside of in a deeper way than I usually normally do. Like I don't use regular soap on my face. I'll use cleanser at night, and in the morning I just use warm water. But I moisturize and I sunscreen all the time. And then I've had 2 or 3 appointments with Tracy over the past year, and she's fantastic because she just wants to keep things healthy, keep things clean, deep clean your skin. And I really like the way that, and she's a Black woman, so she knows about Black skin and she takes good care in that space. She has some good products that I can't always think of the name of. I'm terrible about that, but she doesn't push products on you either, which I appreciate. So that is something I've just started doing, but up until then, I please Black people, wear sunscreen.
This is a message.
Sunscreen.
I just talked with a doctor a couple of weeks ago. I just talked with a doctor about that and melanated skin, because, growing up, we thought our melanin gave us protection because the sun and melanin, we go together
to an extent.
Yes, we go together. So, many of us think, sunscreen's white people stuff. But she was like, no. And here's how: when you tan, you're actually breaking down the tissues, and this is damage and it's not good. And I was like, oh, and she broke it down. So I'm like, sunscreen.
And the sun is new. Let's be real. The sun that we're experiencing now is a different sun than you experienced as a little kid, because we've ruined the atmosphere. So the sun is like, you may as well just get in your oven and turn on the broiler. Like it's getting you, and it's getting you full force. And that, just as much as it feels good, and I love a good tan, it is not good for your cellular structure. So I protect my face and hands really from the sun as much as possible, because that's where you will experience the most damage the fastest.
Thank you. Thank you. That
Yeah.
is a whole PSA, which I think somebody needed to hear. For real. For real. For real. Anika Noni Rose is here. Her new series on Showtime is called Let the Right One In. In addition to being the mother of a son that looks just like you on this program, tell us about your character and why we should fall in love with this series. I know the movie was a big hit, but for
Mhm.
us, what are we going to get from from watching the trailer, I was like, the girl's coming out the trunk. She got a bloody mouth. The most like, what is happening? She's in the tree. I'm like, is this her father? Is she killing people? I'm confused by a lot of things. So I gotta watch it. But I'm imagining you're human in this. You're not a
I'm
vampire.
human. No,
Okay.
I'm human. I'm a homicide detective. So I am somebody who doesn't miss much of anything. I'm a single mom, and you see the care that I have for my child, and wanting to protect him from everything in the world because he's nerdy and he's a magician and he gets bullied at school. And of course, as a mother who's also a cop, I want to go throw handcuffs on 10-year-olds, or 13-year-olds. He's 13. So, but I can't, I have to. You have to do what parents have to do all the time when their children are bullied, and find ways around to help their child and deal with the system. But it's interesting because you see such different sides of Naomi the protector, Naomi the warrior, um, Naomi the inquisitive, information gatherer, um, and Naomi the woman who really I would appreciate. I'm she would appreciate not having to be guarded, you know. So I think it's lovely because you really get a juxtaposition of who this woman is, and you see who she could be, and you get to have the conversations about things going on at work that are maybe uh, blocking where she could be or who she could be or what she could be. And she's now interested in these people next door because Mark, played by Demian Bashir, is weird. He's weird. And anytime, this is unfortunate, but like when you see a guy come by the playground and he doesn't have a child with him, you like, and
Yes.
he's a man who's in an apartment with a child who's, well, clearly, and this is not a spoiler, she's not going to school because she can't be outside in the sun. So what's happening in this apartment next door? So there are a lot of angles happening, and there's a lot of people hiding from a lot of different things. And it's an interesting web.
It reminds me, there's a Dahmer, this series that is I won't watch. I started watching it because of Niecy Nash, and I was like, she was given all of the things, and I'm like, okay, I want to watch this, and I was like, no, I don't want to watch this, so I stopped watching it. But you think about weird people being in our community, and the cops never come. But in this case, you are the cops, so
I'm the cop and I'm there.
yes. So I'm glad. Okay. So there's one thing, but to be able to let your hair down, as you were talking, I was like, how many of us are walking through life with that same kind of guard that you're talking about? And it's like, it becomes our permanent mask sometimes. And how can we just be, like, what does that even look like? I guess, as an actress, you have many different places where you could go. But for regular folk who don't have those skills, how do we navigate these very interesting waters that we're in right now?
Therapy.
She gave another sermon. Sunscreen and therapy.
And therapy.
You better
You
say
gonna live
that.
a good life. As a matter of fact, therapy actually does some of the same things that sunscreen do.
Come
you
on.
know, it'll take a lot of age off your face and your body and your spirit. Therapy, even though we seem to still be scared of it, we shouldn't be scared of it. There are ways to have therapy that don't cost an arm and a leg. You can do group therapy, you can do phone therapy, you can do Zoom therapy. As long as you're with somebody who has credentials, your business stays with them. They can't just go off and tell your business. But what you get in that space, and also there are therapists who you don't need insurance to go to. So let's not let that be your barrier either. You need somebody to talk to who doesn't have skin in the game. You need to be able to release the energy that sits upon you from this time in the world, which is insane. You need to be able to do that. And I think that, you know, and I'll speak specifically to Black people, we have spent so much time not trusting speaking, not trusting sharing, not being able to, you know, and that's probably some historical DNA thing. You know, you can't share everything because then what happens? Well, but we're in a different time now, and you're paying somebody to share, or you're not. Maybe you got a pro bono situation, but you need to say the things that you can't say to your family members, to someone, to your friends, to somebody. It's not enough to just have a pastor. You need somebody who is trained to deal with the trauma that you have dealt with, whatever that trauma may be, whether it's something small or something big, or just being Black in America and trying to walk down the street and not be worried about being killed for doing so. And you deserve to be able to lay that burden down. Yes, if you are a church going person, go to church and do that and sing it out and pray it out and, you know, hug it out and, you know, do all of those things. But this other option, you owe nothing. You owe nothing. Nobody's asking you to be good. Nobody is asking you to be anything but what you are, and you bring yourself as you are. And you get some help moving through life, because life is hard. And I think that a lot of us, you know, when we were younger, you thought, oh, I can't wait to be grown. Grown is hard. And as we're learning now, youth is hard. It's tough. It's a tough time. And I think that therapy saves lives. It saves lives every single day.